You are about to discover a truth that many don't want you to know, a truth that will change your view on life, death, and what exists beyond it. Before everything, leave in the comments where you're watching this video from. Write the name of your city and country, followed by the word goodness. Because today, we're going to talk about someone who dedicated his entire life to goodness without asking for anything in return. Now pay attention. At the end of this video, I will give you a gift that will open your mind like never before. A powerful secret that skeptics and prejudiced people try to hide from you because they know that when you understand this, your life will change forever. We are talking about one of the greatest human beings who ever walked on this planet, Chico Xavier. A man who, in a world where many exploit faith for personal gain, dedicated his existence to helping millions of people without ever charging a single penny. That's right, Chico Xavier died poor, despite having written over 400 books. And you know what's even more impressive? He donated all the money raised to charity while spreading a message of love, hope, and connection to something much greater. Now, stop and think for a moment. Why would someone do this? Why would anyone dedicate their whole life to bringing comfort to people they didn't even know? It's because Chico Xavier wasn't just an ordinary man. He was a channel between this world and what's beyond. He brought messages from the other side that changed lives, healed broken hearts, and proved that death is not the end. But here's the point. They don't want you to know this. They, the skeptics, the prejudiced, and those who benefit from spiritual ignorance, prefer you to keep believing that everything ends here. And that's exactly why this video exists. Because today you will learn the truth. After this video, you will never look at the world the same way again. You will understand why Chico Xavier was a game changer for spiritualism and why his impact goes far beyond what we imagine. So, if you are ready to open your mind and heart, stay with me until the end. The gift I am going to share will connect you to something very special, something they don't want you to discover. Let's go on this transformative journey together, and remember, leave in the comments your city, your country, and the word goodness. Let's spread this message to the world. Chico Xavier described the spiritual realm as a surprisingly organized and vibrant universe, completely challenging traditional views of heaven, hell, and purgatory. For him, the afterlife was not a mystical abstraction or a spiritual void, but rather a structured place full of activity and continuous progress. According to Chico, the souls who depart from this physical plane enter an environment with organized cities, spaces designated for work, learning, and coexistence. These cities are described as spiritual centers that welcome spirits according to their moral and spiritual evolution. An iconic example is the spiritual colony Our Home, immortalized in the book Psychographed by him. In this place, there are hospitals for the treatment of souls that have gone through trauma, schools for spiritual learning, and spaces designated for preparation for future incarnations. The most fascinating thing, however, is that these cities are not static. Chico revealed that progress in the spiritual realm is continuous. Souls do not remain eternally in the same state. They are always learning, evolving, and preparing for new experiences. He emphasized that spiritual growth is infinite and that every soul has the opportunity to redeem itself and reach higher levels of consciousness. This vision directly contrasts with conventional religious conceptions of heaven, hell, and purgatory. While many traditions describe these places as final and immutable destinations, Chico presented the spiritual realm as a direct reflection of the choices and actions in earthly life, but without the idea of eternal punishment. Hell, for example, is not a place of perpetual torment, but a state of consciousness tormented by guilt and regret. Similarly, heaven is not a static paradise where souls rest eternally, but is rather a state of harmony and progress achieved through spiritual work. Chico also rejected the idea of a final judgment that decides each soul's eternal destiny. Instead, he advocated that all spirits have the chance to start over, reincarnate, and repair their mistakes, reflecting a universe based on mercy and divine justice. His innovative view of the spiritual realm not only challenges prejudices, but also inspires hope. Chico showed that death is not the end, but a transition to a world where the soul continues its journey, learning, growing, and striving for perfection. This perspective completely transforms the way we view life, death, and spirituality. Chico Xavier was widely recognized as one of the greatest mediums in history, and his ability to connect with the spiritual realm brought comfort and hope to thousands of families. Many who sought him out claimed to have received detailed and precise messages from loved ones who had passed. Messages that contained information so specific it could only have come from the spirit of the deceased. These accounts are impactful because they didn't just involve generic words of comfort, but intimate and personal details that affirmed the authenticity of the messages. On several occasions, Chico conveyed information that the families didn't know, but that was later verified as true. This not only strengthened the credibility of his communications, but also profoundly transformed how these families viewed life, death, and spirituality. One of the most emblematic cases is the psychographed letter that helped exonerate a man accused of homicide during his trial. Chico, through a message from the spirit of the victim, the details of the incident revealed, confirmed the defendant's innocence. This episode not only brought justice, but also allowed the victim's family to find peace and resignation in the face of tragedy. Beyond these extraordinary cases, many families report how the psychographed messages from Chico Xavier provided immediate relief from grief. He conveyed words of love, repentance, and often even specific guidance from the spiritual world. These communications help parents overcome the loss of their children, spouses accept the departure of their partners, and friends understand that physical death does not break spiritual bonds. The impact of these messages was so profound that many families reported feeling an inner transformation after receiving the contact. They described a newfound understanding of the continuity of life after death and a certainty that their loved ones were well cared for and evolving in the spiritual realm. This connection with life after death, provided by Chico Xavier, not only helped alleviate individual suffering, but also inspired a new collective vision of existence. He showed that death is not an end but a transition, and that true love is an eternal force that transcends the limits of the physical body. Chico Xavier's revelations about the spiritual realm not only provided comfort, but also profoundly challenged conventional beliefs about what happens after death. He described a surprisingly active and dynamic world where souls continue their journey in a continuous cycle of learning, work, and evolution, something that left many people intrigued and, in some cases, even skeptical. One of the most controversial ideas Chico presented was the notion that even after death, there is no eternal rest or definitive punishment. Instead, the spiritual plane would be a direct reflection of earthly life, where souls reap the consequences of their actions, but with the opportunity to grow and correct their mistakes. He stated that in the other world, souls work to help others, both in the spiritual and physical planes, and participate in activities that promote their moral and spiritual progress. Work after death? This seems absurd to those accustomed to the traditional idea of heaven as a place of eternal rest. But for Chico, spiritual work is a form of learning and evolution. Souls help build environments in the spiritual plane, care for newcomers, and even inspire the living through intuitions. This work is seen as essential for the soul's growth. Another surprising point is continuous learning. Chico described spiritual colonies like the famous No Solar, where there are schools, libraries, and spaces dedicated to study. According to him, souls not only study the lives they had on Earth, but also prepare for new incarnations. This raises a fundamental question. Is life an infinite cycle of learning? If everything in the universe is in constant evolution, it makes sense that the spirit follows the same logic, growing with each experience, whether in the physical or spiritual plane. These revelations challenge traditional views of heaven, hell, and purgatory, which are often presented as final and unchangeable destinations. Chico offered a different perspective. The soul's evolution is continuous and infinite. There is no definitive end, but rather an eternal journey toward perfection. For many, this idea is liberating because it eliminates the fear of eternal condemnation and reinforces the belief that there is always another chance. For others, it is unsettling to imagine that life, with all its challenges, is just one stage of an endless cycle. What do you think? Are we all destined to live in eternal learning, or does the journey eventually reach a final destination? Chico Xavier's revelations do not provide absolute answers, but invite us to reflect deeply on our existence and the role we play in the universe. Chico Xavier's mediumistic experiences are widely considered one of the greatest spiritual phenomena of modern history. His ability to psychograph messages from beyond generated remarkable episodes, many of which continue to challenge conventional explanations. Some of these cases have become true evidence of his connection with the spiritual plane, thanks to the detailed and accurate content of the messages. The case of Enrique Emmanuel Gregoris, one of the most well-known accounts, involves a psychographed letter that helped acquit José Divino, who was wrongly accused of homicide. The victim, Enrique Emmanuel Gregoris, allegedly communicated with his mother through Chico, explaining that his death was an accident and not a murder. The message not only brought comfort to the family, but was also used in court as part of the defense process. The letter's content contained details that Chico could not have known, as he had never met the people involved in the case. The reunion of parents and children. Many families who lost children in tragic circumstances found relief in Chico's psychographies. On many occasions, he conveyed messages with dates, nicknames, places, and even snippets of conversations that only loved ones could recognize. A striking case is that of a mother who, upon receiving a letter from her deceased son, recognized the young man's signature and intimate details she had never shared with anyone. The message revealed the son's constant presence in specific moments, bringing comfort and renewing the family's faith. The case of the Waludiu II sailor Chico psychographed messages from a young sailor who perished in a shipwreck during World War II. In the letter, the spirit provided information about his military mission, his final moments before the tragedy, and words of love for his family. What was most impressive was that the details of the naval operation, classified at the time, were later confirmed by official records, strengthening the medium's credibility. Messages from deceased authors. Chico also psychographed literary works attributed to the spirits of renowned writers such as Augusto dos Anjos and Humberto de Campos. These works displayed writing styles and vocabulary consistent with the original authors, something that intrigued scholars and literary critics. In many cases, the texts contained references that Chico, with his limited education, would not have been able to produce on his own. The accuracy of the messages. A recurring aspect of these cases was the richness of details that Chico conveyed. He revealed dates, names, locations, and even specific situations that were often unknown to the families at the time of the psychography, but were later verified as true. This accuracy, combined with the emotional depth of the messages, made his mediumistic experiences undeniable for many. These episodes not only transformed the lives of those who experienced them, but also helped change the collective perception of the existence of another world and the possibility of communication between dimensions. For Chico, these psychographies were not just proof of the spiritual plane, but also demonstrations of the eternal love that connects all souls, regardless of the plane they inhabit. Chico Xavier's spiritual vision and modern science. Chico Xavier's spiritual vision of the world beyond death raises questions that in many aspects intertwine with the frontiers of modern science. He described the spiritual plane as a dynamic and multidimensional reality, suggesting that life after death occurs in spheres or dimensions beyond ordinary human perception. This idea, once considered purely mystical, has found echoes in some scientific theories exploring the existence of additional dimensions in the universe. Hidden dimensions, a parallel with modern physics. Theoretical physics, especially through string theory and M theory, suggests that our universe may contain up to 11 dimensions. These extra dimensions would be invisible to our senses and current instruments, but would be fundamental to the structure of the cosmos. Some scientists, such as Michio Kaku, point out that these dimensions could host realities completely different from our own. For many spiritualists, this offers a point of connection between science and spirituality, suggesting that the spiritual plane described by Chico Xavier could exist in one of these dimensions. The mind beyond the brain. Another point of convergence between science and spirituality is research on consciousness. Scientists such as Stuart Hameroff and Roger Penrose propose that consciousness may be a quantum phenomenon that transcends the brain. This theory, known as orchestrated objective reduction, suggests that the mind can exist independently of the physical body, aligning with Chico Xavier's descriptions of the soul's survival after death. Scientists who explored the spiritual. Several renowned scientists have also considered the possibility of a spiritual universe. The physicist Albert Einstein, although not a spiritualist, acknowledged the existence of something superior, a cosmic order that transcends our understanding. Thomas Edison, on the other hand, attempted to create a device for communication with the beyond, believing that the spiritual world could be studied scientifically. William Crookes, one of the pioneers of chemistry and physics, conducted experiments with mediums in the 19th century and considered the possibility of the existence of spirits. Scientific challenges to Chico Xavier's ideas. On the other hand, many skeptical scientists argue that the experiences described by Chico can be explained by psychological phenomena such as unconscious projections or coincidences. Traditional science requires material and replicable evidence, something that has not yet been fully achieved regarding the existence of a spiritual plane. This tension between faith and science remains one of the greatest challenges in validating Chico's ideas. A bridge between science and spirituality. Despite the challenges, Chico Xavier's vision encourages a broader reflection on the universe and our existence. He believed that in the future, science and spirituality would walk together, uncovering mysteries that today seem unattainable. This perspective not only inspires spiritualists, but also motivates scientists to explore the unknown with an open mind. If the spiritual world is an invisible dimension, it is possible that it does not contradict science, but simply remains inaccessible to current technology and human knowledge. This idea, beyond being fascinating, opens doors to profound discussions about who we are and what our purpose is in the vast universe. Chico Xavier's legacy. Through his life and work, Chico left a legacy that transcends beliefs or doctrines, a message of unconditional love, deep compassion, and an invitation to spiritual evolution. He believed that each of us is here with a greater purpose, a mission that goes beyond the material world. This purpose is directly linked to our growth as spiritual beings and our connection with the universe around us. Love as the essence of life. For Chico, love was the most powerful force in the universe. He taught that love is not just an act, but a way of existence. Loving is understanding, forgiving, caring, and above all, serving. He inspired us to reflect. How can I bring more love into my life and to those around me? Every act of kindness, no matter how small, contributes to building a better world, both here and in the spiritual plane. Compassion, a daily exercise. Chico said that by cultivating compassion, we are actually helping our own souls to evolve. He saw each challenge as an opportunity to be more human, to see in others not only their flaws, but also their pains and fragilities. He invited us to ask ourselves, am I being compassionate with myself and with others? Am I looking at others with the eyes of the heart? Spiritual evolution, everyone's destiny. Life, according to Chico, is a continuous journey of learning. Every experience, good or bad, is a lesson that helps us grow. For him, no one is here by chance, and all difficulties are opportunities to bring us closer to our essence. He believed that true evolution occurs when we become more aware of our role in the universe and begin to act in harmony with it. Reflection for your life. Think for a moment. What is your purpose? Why are you here? Maybe your mission is to love more deeply, learn to forgive, or help others find light amid darkness. The universe gives us signs every day, calling us to look within ourselves and at others with more clarity. Chico showed us that the path of spiritual evolution is not easy, but it is full of meaning. He reminded us that we are part of something much greater, connected to every being and every star in the cosmos. As you reflect on his lessons, ask yourself, am I living with purpose? Am I leaving a positive mark on the world? You are here for a reason. No matter where you are now, what your story is, or the pains you carry, the universe conspires for you to discover your true potential. Chico Xavier's journey was a brilliant example of this. May his life inspire us to move forward with faith, courage, and love. The other world is accessible to everyone. According to Chico Xavier, the spiritual plane is not a place reserved only for a few chosen ones or special beings. He deeply believed that anyone can connect to this reality, as long as they are open and willing to walk a path of faith, love, and self-knowledge. For him, this connection did not require extraordinary gifts, but rather daily practices that elevate the spirit and strengthen ties with the universe. Faith, the key to opening invisible doors. Chico said that faith is like a bridge between the material and spiritual worlds. It is not just about believing in something greater, but cultivating a deep trust in life and the divine purpose it carries. He taught that by believing in goodness, in the power of love, and in the existence of something beyond what we see, we open our hearts to feel the presence of the spiritual plane in our daily lives. Meditation, the silence that connects. Meditation was another practice that Chico frequently encouraged. He believed that by quieting the mind and focusing on the present, we come closer to the divine essence that dwells within us. Through meditation, it is possible to tune in to the vibrations of the spiritual world, listening to the subtle messages it has to offer. For him, this moment of inner silence is an opportunity to strengthen the connection with spiritual guides and with our own soul. Charity, the most powerful bond. For Chico, charity was the most sacred act for those seeking to connect with the other world. He taught that by helping others with genuine love and compassion, we open a direct channel to the spiritual plane. Charity is a way of aligning our actions with universal values of kindness and justice, allowing us to become instruments of divine light on earth. Accessible to all, but requires effort. Although access to the other world is within everyone's reach, Chico emphasized that it requires effort and dedication. It is necessary to cultivate positive thoughts, practice goodness, and above all, maintain humility. He reminded us that there are no insurmountable barriers for those who sincerely seek to evolve and connect with the spiritual plane. Chico Xavier's invitation. Chico invited us to see the spiritual plane as something that is part of our journey, not as a distant mystery. He believed that every person, regardless of their faith or circumstances, can feel the presence of the other world and its transformative energies just by opening their hearts and acting with love. Have you ever tried to connect with something greater, whether through prayer, meditation, or helping others? The other world is closer than we imagined. Chico Xavier showed us that spirituality is a path of love and action, and that all of us, without exception, can walk this journey. Throughout his life and work, Chico Xavier left a profound and often visionary legacy about the future of humanity. Although he was humble and cautious regarding the idea of prophecies, his words and teachings offer powerful insights into humanity's spiritual destiny. He believed that humanity was in a moment of transition, going through a process of collective awakening, a movement that would lead us to a deeper understanding of spirituality and our connection with the whole. The future of humanity. According to Chico Xavier always spoke optimistically about the future of humanity, despite the challenges and difficulties we would still have to face. He believed that the spiritual evolution of human beings is a continuous process, and that humanity would undergo a great transformation. In his messages, he indicated that collective awakening would be one of the main milestones of this transition, in which an increasing number of people would begin to understand that spiritual life is as real as material life. He mentioned that spiritual intuition and mediumistic experiences would become increasingly common as more individuals accessed the reality of the spiritual plane and understood their role in this evolution process. Chico believed that, over time, people would begin to detach themselves from material and selfish concerns, directing their efforts toward collective well-being and the construction of a more just and compassionate world. Crisis as a catalyst for awakening. Chico also saw the social, economic, and environmental crises the world faces as crucial moments of change. He believed that through suffering and pain, people would begin to seek spiritual awakening more intensely as a response to difficulties and the alienation that often dominates society. He warned of challenges such as wars, economic imbalances, and the lack of love between human beings, but also saw these moments as opportunities for learning and evolution. In one of his most well-known teachings, Chico said, "The future will be one of peace, but first, each of us will have to face the storm." He saw humanity as a child that, although going through moments of pain, would eventually understand that love and solidarity are the paths to true peace and evolution. For Chico, suffering is a teacher that teaches us to awaken to spirituality, collective awakening, and Earth's transformation. Chico Xavier also spoke about what he called the moral transformation of Earth. He believed that as more people awakened spiritually, the world as a whole would undergo a great moral reform in which the principles of love, fraternity, and compassion would prevail over materialistic and selfish values. He pointed to the idea that the Earth was preparing for a vibrational shift, meaning that souls not in tune with these new energies of spiritual evolution would gradually be removed, making way for those more aligned with the values of goodness. This planetary transition, as he described it, would be a time of purification for humanity, but also of great spiritual ascension for those willing to evolve. The need for conscious awakening. Chico Xavier emphasized that the transformation of the world depends on the individual effort of each human being. He believed that everyone has the capacity to awaken to a new consciousness, connecting with the highest principles of spirituality. He invited us to act with more empathy, to practice unconditional charity, to seek inner truth, and to understand that we are all responsible for each other. He said, "We are only beginning to understand what true love is, but we are on the right path." The path of transformation, according to Chico, begins with internal change. For him, collective awakening would not be a one-time event, but a gradual movement that would require patience, perseverance, and a deep connection with the spiritual truths he shared throughout his life. Conclusion: what can we do now? Chico Xavier's message about the future of humanity is an invitation to reflect on our role in the process of change that is happening now, in our hearts and in the world around us. How are we contributing to this collective awakening? Are we practicing unconditional love, empathy, and charity? Are we connecting with our spiritual essence and helping others to do the same? Chico left us a valuable lesson. The future of humanity is in our hands, and transformation begins within each of us. Nagil, by living with purpose and aligned with spiritual values, we can not only achieve spiritual evolution, but also help create a more just, compassionate, and loving world for future generations. The objective is within everyone's reach. We just need to experience this transformation with commitment and faith. What can we learn from Chico Xavier? By delving into Chico Xavier's profound vision of life, death, and the spiritual world, we can extract lessons that have the power to transform our way of living. Chico not only presented us with a revolutionary perspective on life after death, but also taught us to live more consciously, aligned with the principles of love, compassion, and continuous evolution. Life is a journey, not an end. One of the greatest lessons we can learn from Chico Xavier is that life after death is not the end, but merely a transition. Just as we change environments throughout our existence, death is, for him, just a passage to a new stage of learning and evolution. By understanding this, we can live with more serenity, knowing that regardless of the difficulties we face here, our spiritual journey continues beyond material life. This understanding gives us courage and comfort, as we are no longer bound by the fear of death, but by the idea of an eternal path of growth and evolution. Living with purpose and compassion, Chico taught us that the true measure of our life is in the love we practice and the good deeds we perform, whether for others or for ourselves. A conscious life, according to his vision, is one in which we constantly seek to improve ourselves through service to others, the practice of charity, and doing good in all our actions. He reminded us that love is the key to everything, and that acts of kindness, generosity, and compassion have a direct impact on our spiritual evolution. Life is a fertile field of learning, and each moment offers us an opportunity to do good. True freedom is in our conscience. Another fundamental teaching of Chico is that our true freedom comes from a mind and spirit free from attachment to materialism and selfishness. When we free ourselves from these internal prisons, we can live more fully, always seeking to align with the highest spiritual values. He believed that the greatest good we can do for ourselves and the world is to develop an elevated consciousness and act based on universal truth, unconditional love, and the light that dwells in each of us. Spiritual awakening and constant evolution. Chico Xavier's vision also challenges us to look at life more profoundly, constantly questioning our role in the universe and our greater purpose. He encouraged us to seek constant evolution, reminding us that we are spiritual beings on a journey of learning and growth. Every challenge, every suffering is an opportunity for evolution. As he said, we are children of the Father, and each step we take brings us closer to our divine essence. Spiritual awakening is not a distant achievement, but something that happens every day in our thoughts, words, and actions. Life is precious, live with love and gratitude. Now more than ever, we can see that life is a precious gift, and that each day is an opportunity to learn, grow, and share love. We know that the future holds new challenges, but also new opportunities for evolution. By understanding Chico Xavier's vision, we can look beyond with serenity and confidence, knowing that our spiritual journey is eternal. Therefore, live more consciously. Do not waste time on what is temporary. Invest in your spiritual growth, in your love for others, and in the care of your soul, because as Chico taught us, true life begins the moment we connect with our deepest and purest essence, and life after death is just a continuation of this process of evolution and learning. Remember, death is not the end, it is only a transition. Enjoy the life you have now by making love, kindness, and forgiveness the pillars of your journey. because the future of your soul is in your hands, and awakening begins now.